Fucking hell. Okay, so it has been like, I don't know. I think I got gifted this on launch day. Haven't touched it since. We're gonna try to do this. Like, I would really like to enjoy this with God mode, and that's what we're gonna do. So if you're here to find like a playthrough that's like legit and you want to watch legitness, girl, bye. I'm here to enjoy the immersion. I'm not here to struggle. I'm just not. Why won't it let me have weird proportions? How dare you? Are you gonna have a big head? Oh, big head mode. Oh. Can you not make... I thought you could make... You can. Not the color I wanted, please. Oh, she is really giving. Giving face. Girl. Oh, wow. Girl, this nose? Ugh. Oh. This nose! Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, can we get a hairstyle? Because I can't even see, like, what I'm adjusting because her hair is in her face. My god. Is there a fierce pony? I want a fierce ponytail. Is there really not a fierce ponytail? Miku! Wait, we have to make Miku. Oh, wow. I love you, Miku. Oh, fierce. Well, at least the... Oh, I was gonna say, at least the nose is fixed, but I don't think it is. Can we get plumped lips? Yes! Miku with lip injections. Yes! I live. Eyebrows. Let's do a fierce brow. Oh, no brow Miku? Could be fierce. I'm digging it. Oh, we can do the lashes. Okay, lashes. Can we change her skin color, please? Because I need her to look like Miku. I would like historically accurate Miku. What color are Miku's eyes? Someone look it up. Please! Oh, goth Miku. Oh, wow. Wait, you can make fierce eyeshadow. Wait! Wait, this is fierce. Cosmetics, eyeliner. Yes. Eyeshadow upper. Oh, smoky eye. Lipstick color. How do you... Oh, yeah. Oh, that's the one. A red lip. It's not like saturated. I want it to... Oh. The side profile? Oh, wow. Beautiful. She is stunning. I want like... Why won't it let me just like do one and then it's like... No, everything else has to follow suit. Okay, I'm done. No, I don't want Miku in this robe, please. This isn't Nemesis, this is Miku. No, because I want to have magic spells and do my magical girl spells as Miku. Stop pestering me. The fallen leaves. Girl, I don't need the story. I'm good. Oops. Me, I'm here to immerse myself in the story. Also, me skips the entire first. Well, here we are again. How many years later? Not a year later, because we're still playing in 2022. Take your clothes off. Sorry. Take this hood off. It's so ugly. I literally don't even... I literally DGAF. Like, let's go. Like, who's gonna stop me? Like, literally, who's gonna stop me? Can you open the fucking door, Miku? I have to go get the finger. Good morning. Jumping around as Miku. Not yet, because I know you have to like actually get killed by something over here, so I think the game will crash if I don't. Wow, pretty tree. Pretends to be shocked when this thing drops from the sky. Oh my god! I can win. Okay. I beat him. I did it. I think the cutscene's broken. Still broken. Oh my god, Miku, no! Somebody help her. Girl, IDGAF. Please. Oh, you can run? Open up! Can you hurry and door the... Can you hurry and door the open faster? That's literally what I was about to say. Wow. So I believe if I hit this button, God mode will be turned on. Okay, the little noise! I like that noise. No, I will not be playing multiplayer. That's a joke. No one can stop me now. I'm undefeatable. Oh, untouchable, untouchable. Untouchable, 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 untouchable. Oh, gagged. I literally don't even know how to play the game. How do you run? Why is running a circle? That is dumb. Oh! I'm back! This is where I stopped playing the first time. Wow. Hey, loser. Stop giving me tutorials. IDGAF. Hi.
Oh, yes. Tarnished, are we? Come to the lands between. Of course you. Unfortunate. Without guidance, without the strength of runes, and without an invitation, you are fated.
Yeah. Let's see if God mode is really on, shall we? Let's test with this guy. Because I remember he used to gag me all the time. Hi, sir. Bro, please. I literally don't give a fuck. We won! We won! Okay, you can back it up now. I'm just trying to test something, sir. Don't make me gag you, because I will. I'm literally untouchable, untouchable. I will literally gag you so fast. Look, I'm literally gagging him. What? What? And what? And fucking what? You can't. You literally can't fight me. Like, you literally can't even do anything, you fucking loser. Literally a skill issue right now. Skill issue. Skill issue. Skill issue. Oh, oh, I'm dodging. I'm dodging. Skill issue. Skill issue. Skill issue. I don't have any mana. Can I switch? Can you please get off me? Here, I'll use this. How do I? Can you stop? How do I change my weapon? What a great start to the game we're having. Oh, I got it. Oh, gagged. Oh, gagged. Oh, watch this, Mr. Krabs. Oh, oh, oh. Literally, like, I'm literally so good at this game. Like, I haven't taken a single hit yet. Like, literally, I'm dodging and parrying this entire thing. Like, literally gagging him so with ease, with literal ease. Look, he's almost dead. What a fucking noob. Imagine dying to Miku. Like, what a beautiful way to go out. Say your goodbyes. Say goodnight, Mr. Tree Sentinel. Miku prevails. Exactly. Easy. Actually, skill issue. Mid difference. He's clearly a bronze player. Hi, Ivy. Literally, I got it perfect. Is that how you save? How do you save? Where do I get some good outfits? Is there a clothing store in this game? Gag. This game's pretty quiet. Hold on, I'm gonna turn it up. Turn it up. I'm enjoying my time in my La La Land, because now I'm untouchable. And I don't have to worry about a damn thing. And you know what? I fucking love it. I get to just experience the immersion. And that's honestly iconic. That's Ivy iconic, if you know what I'm saying. Ho! What was that? Oh. This Pokemon update looks weird. Runs around. Hey. Ooh. Let me get some of the materials. Oh, look at that over there. Hey. Need to cook you up. Untouched. Oh. Hi.
You're tarnished, and I can also that you're not. Then why not? I am Kale.
Nice to meet you.
I am of a nomadic people selling wares as the land has been. It's only tarnished. Let's say you're a very.
That's nice. Oh, you sell some drags? Oh, some thigh-high boots? No, I'm playing as Miku. Please put some respect on Miku's name, Maddie. The fuck? What the fuck, Maddie?
You know, you should buy yourself a crafting kit. A crafting kit allows you to make basic items on your own. Essential, really. The kit costs a bundle, and I admit I do take my cut, but the important...
So you're gonna rob me?
Goodbye.
Fuck that.
Good morning, Krusty Krab.
That scared me. Oh, you can fast travel? That's lovely. Oh, I still don't know how to play the game. Literally just got gagged. sir. Do you guys think he's friendly? Oh. Bro, calm down. Literally fucking owned. That's all you got? Flop. That's what he didn't buy Project Diva, like flop. Hiya! Bitch! Ooh, ooh, ooh! Don't try Miku. You'll get burned. Can you give me your item? What? What is the good news? It's a dung beetle. We have to catch it. Oh. Well, that's not what it was called, but I killed it. Exactly. Yeah, when you were like, it just went out of the store, I was like, ooh, this is awkward because I didn't buy it, but I will this time. Because I was too busy sleeping. Like, am I supposed to be intimidated by these guys? Like, are they supposed to even, like, try it? Like, literally try me? I want to fight Melania. I'm ready. Just kidding. Our weapon probably do like no damage to her. See, this I can get behind. I like the pace of this. Girl, if I was literally playing this default, you die and you have to reset the like last hour of work you did. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm literally fine. How is that enjoyable? Like, actually. I don't like a challenge. Is this a turtle? Oh. It's a turtle. What a cute little baby. Did it kill this thing? The bones in front of it? Did it like murder something? What is over there? What is that? Is that a rat? What are these things? Oh, it's pussing. Ew. A dragonfly. Ew, these things are so ugly. Well, thank God we killed them. Giggles, giggles, giggles. I don't like the run being that button. That doesn't sit well with me. See, I like that better. That feels better. My character looks fucked up right now. Oh my God. Girl is cut up. Oh, she's dying, Your Honor. We need to get her high heels or something. That'd be so stunty. Just high heels walking about. Oh, I was already here. Boring. Sloppy. I want a bow. Are there bows in this game? Is that where we started the game? Did I just do a circle? Uh-oh. Are you, like, am I supposed to know where I'm going? Like, am I supposed to know? Or is there, like, an objective? Like, what am I doing? I'm going over there. Why did it just change? The sky just changed in a matter of seconds. What happened? I'm a little nervous, a little perturbed, a little startled. And also feeling a little promiscuous. A little sexual. Liv Morgan's top artist of 2022 was Justin Bieber. You smile, I smile. She knows it. She knows it. She's so correct. Fuck you, bitch. I just want to pull out like an AK in this game. Just be like, what and what? Like when I modded my Skyrim so it didn't even look like Skyrim and I was like high school role-playing in it. That was camp. Hey, losers. Oh. You want to try me? Like, literally, you're a joke. I thought I had a... I should be able to use whatever the fuck I want because I acquired said item. Excuse your mouth. That's what I thought. Use my halberd that I got from the fucking boss of the first area I'm not supposed to beat. But I did it anyway because I'm a girl boss. Exactly. Now watch this. Bitch. Oh, yeah. Beat his ass. You're a joke. The way I just clocked him. Oh. Oh, they're putting up a fight. Oh, they really want to fight. You guys are funny. Yeah, you're funny. Literally F off. Yeah. 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 I'm not so sure I like this sword. Oh, I can use my magic spells. Miku magic activate! There's another one? Okay. Nobody left alive. I think there's... Hold on, my thing's gonna lag for a second because apparently I can't play it. Can I fix it here? Yes. There we go, it's fixed. Lagged for a second, but we're good. It is unlimited HP numpad 2. Oh, girl. Okay, so I can get knocked around now, but... So we're a little more immersed. But if someone ever tries it... Oh, map found. Oh, we're supposed to collect the map? Oh, that would make sense, wouldn't it? What do these things mean? I like that nobody is like nobody knows what's going on. I like that we're in this together. It makes me very happy. It didn't work. You got wrecked. You got beat to it. Oh wow. Embarrassing. You could try Pourquoi. Added a bunch of like wrestling sound commands. So yeah, do you like my character? I made Miku. Isn't she stunning? With some lip injections. Yep, she's gorge. Who wants to fight? Let's go, Buster. Oh. You can't kill the doll. Yeah, that's what yeah, you thought you could. You thought you could end the doll. Exactly. What? That's what I fucking thought. Stay down. Oh. I do the India Ferrer roll. Oh. Livin' la vida. Oh, wait, that song's redacted. Because he's a...
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby. I already got that. Hold on. Let me undo the map marker. Okay, I wanted to undo it. I think I'm ready to fight the final boss. I think I am. Is this the whole map? What am I supposed to do? Can you go in the water? Can I get a boat? We got scurvy. I think, oh, there's a path right here. Okay, we're gonna go. We're gonna follow. We're just here to adventure. Does the bellas not work? I thought it did. Oh, you know what it is? I think I think if you do, you can look, but you can't touch. Like that full, I made it that originally, but I changed it to a shorter one. But then I didn't save it. Oh, girl, look what you did. You added the slash. Oh, I don't know what it is then.
Oi! You there? Could
Who's-
you help us out, Cully?
Who's calling me? I need to change the character voices up. Oh no, we both look foolish.
Yeah, you there?
I don't look foolish, baby. I don't.
And you can't see me.
Wait, I can't see him? John Cena?
Why won't anyone look me in the eye? I'm not.
Oh, wow. Well, this is nice. What the? Girl. This place is big, and you're big.
Oi! You there? Could you help us out, Cully?
Oh, is that him right there? Where is this man?
Yeah, you there? Stop pretending you can't see me.
I literally can't see you. He's right here.
Why won't anyone look me in the eye? I'm not that ugly, am I?
You fucking Harry Potter sounding bitch, where are you? Oh, is he in a tree? What is happening right now? Am I being...
You there?
I'm literally
Could
being
you
trolled.
help us out, Cully?
I'm literally being trolled. Is he one of these horses?
Yeah, you there.
I'm
Stop
being
pretending you
trolled!
can't see me.
I literally can't see you, sir. Why are the sheep rolling? What is happening?
Why won't anyone look me in the eye?
Okay, I'm leaving. You're making me
I'm
upset.
not that ugly, am I?
You are. You're ugly. I missed. Hello, gentlemen. Can you guys please? I didn't realize. What is that? What the fuck? What is happening? Stop! Stop! Get away, please. Sir, please. Stop this madness.
Oi! You there. Could you help us out, Cully?
Where did that guy even come from?
Yeah, you there. Stop pretending you can't see me.
Oh, is he the head? Oh. Well, girl, I'm not wearing my glasses, so I literally am probably passing him like it's nothing.
Why won't anyone look me in the eye?
What is that?
I'm not that ugly, am I?
Can someone put... Wait. Oh, I thought I saw him. Okay, it's whatever. I'm leaving. F you. F you and you... Try the bush. Like, what bush?
Oi! You there. Could you help us out, Cully?
This one?
Yeah, you there. Stop pretending you can't see me. What you going to... Oh, yes. I remember. Some clod turned me into a tree. You were just breaking the spell, weren't you? Thank you. The name's Bok. I was pushed out of the cave. Told not to come back. Not ever. Then I ended up as a tree. Lucky you came along, really. Oh, what a shame. When they threw me out of the cave, they took everything I owned. And so this is all I have to express my thanks. I hope you can forgive me.
Give me some shrooms.
Well, if you can afford to wait for a while, I could sneak back into the cave and bring back something of actual value. Well, then I'd be of some real use to you, I reckon. Right, but I'm my knee. Right, I'm...
Okay, you do your thing, sir. I trust you. Mr. Ratman. So I don't want to go over there now because there's a giant horse that wants to murder me. But I want to get to the next waypoint. Aren't there like bosses? There's like 5 lords or whatever bullshit. We haven't even run into that girl yet. Clearly I'm not doing what I need to be doing. I know we have to run into... I think it's Melania, isn't it? Or something. You run into her at the church or something, and then I can get a horse? Yeah, can you? I remember, like, I just need to do something, and then you can do whatever you need to do after that. What is that? Hello? Oh. Weird. Like, you have to rest at a grace. Oh, is this it? Oh, I think this is it. I mean, when I accidentally do it on purpose. I mean, fuck. I don't even know what I'm saying. Yeah, this is it. Okay, got
Greetings,
it. Hello!
traveler from beyond the fog. I am Melina.
Is that really your name?
I offer you an accord.
Uh-huh. That would be a fierce eye makeup, though. Could you imagine,
Have you
like, a
heard
little...
of the Finger Maidens?
The who?
They serve the Two Fingers, offering guidance and aid to the tarnished. But you, I am afraid, are maidenless.
What'd you say to me?
I can play the role of maiden, turning runes into strength to aid you in your search for
I'm
the
looking to see if
Elden
there's,
Ring.
like...
You need only take me with you to the foot of the Erd Tree.
Okay.
Then it's settled. Summon me by grace to turn runes into strength.
Oh, I didn't know that was
Another matter.
a character from this
I
game.
bequeath to you this ring.
You what to me? You bequeath?
Use it to traverse great distances. It will summon a spectral steed named Torrent.
Oh, work.
Torrent
This is what I
has
needed.
chosen you. Treat him with respect.
I'm looking at character mods to see if I can change my character into someone. It looks like there's one you can change your character into Scarlet from Mortal Kombat. You can change yourself into Froggy Chair. That would be camp. But I can't do that today. Anyways. Thank you! I knew I needed this. See? I am so smart sometimes. I literally don't need to use these. Hello? Oh, okay. I'm trying to get used to the controls. Okay. So we have to bring her to a what? A tree? Oh, wow. Is there no... Wow. No. So where is that at? Is that this way? From here you go towards the castle gate. Can you please? Oh, that one? Problem is, I just like really can't see like sometimes without my glasses. Jinkies! Okay, let's see. Let's experience and immerse ourselves. I didn't mean to do that. What? I'm not scared of you, bitch. Yeah, you got me. You really... Oh! Oh! Oh my god! Oh my god, please! Oh, gagged. Oh, oh, gagged. Oh, 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 gagged. Oh, 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 dodged! Okay. Alright, there's too many of you. I already cleared this base. Why do I have to do it again? Now, why am I in it? Everybody just calm down. Look at everybody! Everybody just calm down. Everybody just calm down. Calm it down. Calm down. What the fuck? All right. Okay. You're funny. I was like, what is that shadow in the sky? That's really interesting, isn't it? And then, yeah. I think I'm ready to go to the end of the game. Like, I'm ready to fight I'm ready to fight Melania. Oh, I literally cleared him right here. Look at this. I'm in his cooch. Yes. Okay. Can you guys stop? Oh my god! Stop hitting me! It's not nice. What? Oh my god! I'm getting my shit rocked. Please stop. Oh my god! Okay, this is fun. Stop, please. For 1 second. Okay. Oh my god. Whoever let this guy in is paying for the bill. Look, he's about to kill you guys. He's not even on your team. Okay. What is happening? Oh, it's turning dark out. I'm literally gagging him so good right here. Miku magic makeup! Got him so good. I'm doing good, odd child. How are you doing? I'm enjoying that I can just experience this without having to worry about me dying at every second. It's very nice. I actually really like it. Hi. Oh, please don't play your fucking horn. It's dark out. I'm scared. Guys, I'm literally scared right now. Guys, I'm scared. Can I roleplay walk? Okay. You guys started the fight. I didn't want to hurt you, but I have to. Hello. Yes. There's a dead body here. Hi. Oh, a sword. Let me save. I don't know what that means. Level up. Strength. Oh, hi.
Everyone's been grafted. Everyone who came with me. They crossed the sea for me. They fought for me. Only to have their arms taken. Their legs taken. Even their heads taken. Did you know, if you're grafted by the spider, you become a chrysalid? It's quite the lark when you think about it.
Oh, I can sit?
You're all on your own, are you? And heading to Stormvale? Enticed by the well, that makes us two peas in a pod. But I don't have your courage. It's scary, you know, having your arms cut off. Or legs. Or your head.
Well, yeah.
I want to be like everyone else, but I'm just too scared. I'm nothing but a craven.
Does everyone have like a British accent in this game? Hi, man. I'm here with you. Don't worry. We're in this together. What if I killed her? Oops.
Oh, I know. Can you take this little one along?
Sure, sure.
The poor thing deserves someone brave. And the spirits, look, it'll be glad of your company, I think.
Spirits? I'm good. Hey, queen.
This tiny golden aura is the grace of the Endtree. This light once shone in the eyes of your tarnished brethren, but now it is all that guides you. Also, I hear. You can see them, can't you? The rays of grace that guide you through your burden. Upon the cliff in Castle Stormvale is a shard-bearer, a demigod, who inherited a fragment of the shattered Elden Ring.
A demigod?
If the rays of grace signal the castle, then the Elden Ring beckons you. As an ally by pact, I pray that you are fit to face the challenge presented by the ring.
Okay. What's everybody gonna get on the Steam sale? Has anyone gotten anything yet? I'm giving eyes. I think I'm definitely gonna splurge. I think I'm gonna splurge. Can you please? Let's go. Let's ride. Yes, we are doing a Miku playthrough. Thank you. We are Miku. Miku's big day in the Elden Ring. That's what's happening. Her crazy single player adventure. I don't know what these things do, but I do find it interesting when I do this. Yeah. Oh my god. I'm on fire. Please. F off. Oof. Was that necessary? You just killed your friend. Dumbass. Okay, just take the guys out for me, why don't ya? I'm playing with maximum health, so we're good. We're enjoying our time. He just got gagged. Did you see that? You dumbass piloting the cannon. Fucking stupid. Alright, we're in the castle. I'm still in my panties though. Be careful. I've been watching your live streams for about 2 years, and have you heard of Project Eden's Garden? It's a Danganronpa fan-made game. It's free. I'd love to see you play it. Would you consider playing it sometime? The prologue for the game came out a couple weeks ago. I can send you a link on their Twitter if you're interested. So, funny you mentioned that, Black Cat. Also, thank you for being a long-time subscriber and supporter of the channel. I did talk to my mod about it the other day. Me and Curtis were texting about it because I want Curtis to play it as well. I'm not sure. Maybe I could stream the prologue, and if it comes out episodically, I could do it. But my main issue with games like Danganronpa fictional novel games is that I don't wear my glasses on stream, so it's hard to really enjoy and immerse myself. But I have been in the Project Eden's Discord and following that game for a long time, so it is definitely a possibility. I'm not gonna mark it off. I would like to try the prologue and see how I like it, and then maybe go from there. I mean, either way, I'm probably gonna play it. It's just a matter if I stream it or not. But yeah, I definitely have heard of it. It's been on my like watch list. Oh my god, that's so pretty. What? Oh, I've seen this.
Foul tarnished. In search of the Elden Ring.
I am!
Emboldened by the flame of ambition.
And who are you? Your name's Margit? You're a fell omen? Okay, Flop. Your name's Margit? What a loser name. Ow. He has a tail? Why does he have a... Oh! Girl, please. Girl, bye. You can hit me all you want, baby. Okay. Ow! Oh my god! I want to enjoy the music, but I feel like the sound effects are too loud. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, why does it sound like kind of like a slur? Ow! Stop! Girl. Girl.
Well, thou art of
What are you, Thor? What the?
warrior blood must truly run in thy veins. Tarnished.
Oh my god, he's gonna push me off. I'm scared he's gonna push me off. Oh my god. Stop. Stop. You need to be nice. Oh my. I'm gonna parry him. Watch this. I think it worked. Oh! I'm gonna parry it. Oh! The way I actually did it. Please don't hurt me. Ow. Girl. Oh my god. Look at how fucking cut up my girl is. Oh my god. Could you imagine me trying to do this without fucking infinite health? I would never be able to beat this. Y'all are insane for beating this. I could never in my life. I guess I'm not playing video games right. Oh, he's scared. Oh, you're scared? Are you scared? Oh, parried. Oh. You just got slain. Yes!
Remember thee, tarnished, smouldering with thy meager flame. Cower in fear of the night. The hands of the fell Omen shall brook thee no quarter.
My girl needs a shower. She is fucked up. She is drenched in blood. Miku is fucked up, girl. Hey, Queen.
Forgive me. I've been testing you.
Oh, we got a
see
shower.
Whether or not grace truly does guide you.
Hello, Curtis.
Whether you are fit to face the
I gave her lip
challenge
injections. I
that
did.
entails. It seems my worries were unfounded. Torrent had your measure from the very start, whereas I merely pretended. There is but one other thing I can do to offer you guidance.
And what's that?
I can take you to the Round Table Hold, gathering place of tarnished champions, guided by grace. Very well. Let my hand rest upon you for but a moment.
Teleport tricks. The Round Table is a place where the Tarnished gathered, guided by grace. Combat is prohibited on the premises due to part of Pact of Non-Aggression. This rule is in effect when the Round Table icon is displayed. The Round Table Hold is located outside the world, and fast travel by grace only means reaching it. Work. So it's like a safe place. It's like a haven, like a hub. Ow, my fucking ass. Hi.
Ah, hello. You must be new here. Well, the honor of one's house holds little import in these lands. By the way, have you met a young woman named Lanya on your travels? She's
No.
my servant, but fickle as the wind. Take your eyes off her for but a moment, and if you find her...
I'll keep my eyes out, but I've never seen her, so she must be dead. Hey, sir.
You're a new face. No matter. Lay out your own.
Can I buy something? I don't even know how to do this. Hi.
Greetings, great champion called by grace. I am Fia. Circumstances have compelled my stay at the Round Table Hold. Great champion, would you allow me to hold you? But briefly, perhaps you might share with me some of your lively vigor and your stout-heartedness. Doing so will grant me the warmth of a champion, and you, I am sure, will bear a Baldakin's blessing. Do you think it vulgar, perhaps? Where I come from, it is a sacred act.
So she wants to fuck?
Ah, my thanks, great champion.
Me and who?
You are very warm.
Oh.
What you felt light up inside you was a Baldakin's blessing. Though it is but a fleeting thing, I am afraid. Come back to me, should you require another. I will take you in my arms as often as you need.
Oh. Whoever this woman is, I love you. Queenly. Running and running and running. Was this a winery? Doesn't this mean there's a boss? She basically takes some health from you, but you get a buff. Oh. Not a problem. Giggles. I just knocked over some books. I'm so sorry. Oh, hi. Okay. Hello to you too, then. Huh. I don't know how any of the like combat works, but I guess I'll find a new weapon when I find it. Like, I don't know. Can I sit down? How do I get out of here? What is that? What is this? I want to go there. That's fierce. Anyways, we go. We move on. We continue our journey, our conquest. That's Spirit Halloween, true. Well, this is gorgeous. Be a shame if I fell off. Oh wait, there's something down there. When this breaks. Spooky. Scary. What was that? I hear movement. I'm not stupid. Well, that doesn't look friendly. Hey. Who's over here? Oh. I didn't think you were serious. Serious about what? Huh. Oh, do we actually have to go that way because this is shut? Oh, there's a door.
Who there? Come over here, would you?
You scared the fuck out of me.
You're tarnished. I would advise against taking The main gate.
Bro's got gamer hunched down.
It will the guards don't. You'll breach the castle. Yes, you're just the kind of tarnished that I like. I pray for your success.
I don't like that everybody calls me tarnished. I don't know how I feel about that. Kind of hurts my feelings. I feel like garbage. No, yeah, I'm playing with max health. And I'm enjoying it because I can actually enjoy the game. Do you mind? Like, that was so unnecessary. This bird with the... Do you know that one meme of the girl and those, like, stilts? That's literally what that was. Well, I want to go to that house over there. That looks like a nice house. No, I don't want that. That's the start of the game. Oh, that's interesting. Can I get up here? Oh. Yeah, it's like a thing. So I do this and it turns on. Pretty useful. Hey! Quiet. Oh my fuck. Okay, I'm gonna go inside so I don't get pushed off. Whoa! Oh shit. Aha, wrecked. Stay down. I like breaking stuff, it's fun. Yeah. How? Wait a second. That doesn't make sense. That's interesting. Is it on? Oh. That's funny. How did that happen? I guess so, huh? I've learned from my mistakes. The way I fought one of the literal bosses and I didn't die, but the explosive barrels are what killed me. I want to open it. Can you please stop trying to get me with the fire arrows? You guys are ridiculous. I wonder if it was fall damage or if it's actually the explosive barrels. We'll have to test that theory. Hello? Oh, you think it's funny? You think it's funny? Oh, you think it's funny? Oh, you want to laugh at the doll? I'm not laughing. I know, literally the tee-hee-hee. Is it funny now that you thought you could kill me, but you're doing no damage? You like that? Okay. Give me a second. Cleared. With ease, actually. I didn't struggle a bit. Not one bit. Fucking loser. I got a key. It's really dark in here. I thought that was gonna be a mimic. I was literally so concerned. I'm covered in blood. I want to get up there. Why do I hear someone moving around? They climb into the hole. Ha, done that. Been there, done that. That's what she said. I'm just breaking everything. I want to go back to that door to see if I can open it with this. Excuse me. Yes. Can you climb the ladder, please? Boss fight the ladder. Hi, Lucy. Oh, it's just a checkpoint? Girl. Lol. Oh, you tried to spook me! You tried to get me, gal! You can't outdo the doer. Clocked. This is pretty. Back it up. Calm it down now. We don't have to do all these theatrics up here. You're doing a little too much. Girl. Oh my, oh my, oh. I miss? Oh my god. Girl. You can calm it down. There's no need for all this. Okay. You're done. I want to push the body off the cliff. Go, go, go. It's gonna take me so long to get it over there. No, I want it to go. Come on. Have some fun now. I want to see it ragdoll off the cliff. Not worth my time. Well, why not? Hey, loser. Ah, what? Oh my god. Flop. As I miss all my attacks on him. But he's the flop. Can I please? I guess I can't. I'll just leave him. Have a good life. Does he even see me? Literally clocked. Oh. Got him. Uh-huh. Pretty tree. I don't know the significance of the tree, but I'm sure we will eventually. It's gonna be like, you have to play every other Souls game and play chapter 3 of 500 episode 933 to understand. Well, what am I supposed to do? I'm hungies. Need some food. This game is standalone. That's good to know. I'm trying to, like, at least, like, pay attention to the story a little bit. I'm a little lost already, I will be honest, but... Is it possible to get over there? Ow. Gotcha! Bitch. Ow. The way he clocked me, he said, nah. Just a little bit, you think? Just a little. Wait, so how do we get up there? Wait. I must be confused. Bunny boy, I bought Naraka Blade Point yesterday. The cosmetics, you're right, they are fierce. Like, so fierce. Oh, let me rest because I'm covered in blood. There we go. Well, this is so pretty. I'm gonna be honest, I still don't know if I'm going the right way, but it's fine. Was that necessary? We could, yeah. I don't know if I can soon, because holiday season, but I bought it specifically to have it to play. I dying if I have infinite health? That's it. Now no one can stop me. Flop. Yeah, throw all your barrels at me. Can't do shit now, bitch. My anti-bird agenda continues. Oh, you think you're funny? You think you're funny? You think you're funny? You think you're fucking funny? Don't you, you little stupid bird? Twee bird. Wannabe ass. Yeah, flops. F off. Pick up my shit. Why would I do that? I don't want to touch my shit. That's disgusting, Red. Oh my god. Anyway, I fell. Oh, this is pretty. I'm not religious, but this is gorgeous. Hello.
Ah, nice to meet you. The pleasure's mine. Roger is the name. A sorcerer, as you might have guessed. When I'm not hot-footing it from the troops, that is. But enough about me. What are you doing here in Stormvale Castle? This place
I
is
literally have no
bristling with
idea,
tarnished
dude.
Hunters, you know. They sacrifice our kind for grafting. Not exactly a place I'd stroll into without a purpose in mind. I see. Here to challenge Godrick and lay your hands upon a great rune, are
So
you?
was that guy
You
before
can
he was
see
a
it
mini
then.
boss?
I take it. The guidance of grace. Well, enjoy it while you can. I'm tarnished, like you. But unlike you, I've seen neither hide
That was
nor
a
hair
mini
of this guidance
boss.
for the
You're
longest
funny.
time.
This
Still,
game's a joke.
I won't forget how it felt when I first came here. to the
Yeah,
lands
never in
between.
my life would I play this
I'm
if we
privy
didn't
to
have
a
this.
few magical battle arts. Would you care to learn one? As a fellow tarnished, once guided by grace, I'd love to help you out, if it please.
I want to learn skills. There's also one boss fight I'm really excited for in this because it's so fierce. Like, I need it. It's the one you fight like this bitch on the water and she's like stunning and gorgeous and does all these spells. Like, I want to fight that. That's gonna be so fierce when we get there. I only know a couple things. I watched Oddstarva play this a little bit. Came on while I was sleeping. What does he want? Oh, he's just like a teacher guy. Who does the voice of Godrick? Isn't it like a... I've heard people say things about him. Now what the fuck is that? Oh, this is the spider the lady was talking about, I think. Is that a giant, like, ripped apart? Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's a lot of bodies. Oh, I dodged her. Gotcha, bitch. Oh, this room is really pretty. See, like, that's what I've wanted to do this entire time. Like, I just want to, like, look at the world, enjoy the music. Like, and now I get to finally do... And now I get to finally do that. Yeah, like, I literally could not play this default. It's so hard. Like, that thing was a mini boss. Like, that's a joke. Whoa. I don't know what that was. Right? Like, just like doing some sightseeing. Right? I'm glad I can do that for you guys. You look very interesting. What are you? Oh my god. Can you calm it down? Whoa. This is the thing the lady was talking about. Wait, it has blue hair. Of course you have blue hair and pronouns. Can you fuck off? Me. So real for that one. Ow. Girl. This fucking guy with her needs to quit it. Girl. Oh, wow. Well, that was kind of fierce if I do say so myself. I think we need to upgrade. Oh, I just gagged her. Oh, cleared. Yeah, I definitely need to get a better sword. This area is really dark. Like, this is scary. Like, that lady was, like, ripping off the arms of people and legs and just, like, using them. Does she have lore? Like, I want to read it. Like, who is this picture of? Is that Godrick? It's probably Godrick. A lot of you guys over here. From what I remember, they take arms and body parts to get closer to becoming gods. Oh. Interesting. are there so many of them out here? Welcome back. There's no way in any lifetime that I live on this earth that I would be able to finish this default. Like, I've literally died with God mode on, which is insane, if you ask me. Oh, gag him. I love hitting those moves. That's a satisfying move. You just hit your puppy. You just killed your dog. This dude literally just spawned with this thing and just killed it by accident. Dumbass. I mean, totally, yeah. Also, like, all of these, like, fights we've been doing are fully, like, are mini bosses. We haven't even done a real boss yet. We've done mini bosses and they've been difficult. I wish you could pick up the talent, like the dual swords. Where? I don't even know where I'm going, actually. We have to do something here. We have to place that girl's... Well, we have to get Godrick, right? We have to kill Godrick. That's why we're here, right? Now, what is that? Oh, it's just another giant. Hi, sir. I love hitting those moves. Those moves are so satisfying. Okay, I'm not wasting my time on this guy. I'm sorry. I'm out. Haha, he can't fit in here. You're stinky. Stinky, stinky, stinky. Okay, we got a checkpoint. I think so. I think the mist means there's bosses, right? That's what I remember from the original when we played for the first time. I have to use the bathroom really quick. I'll be 2 seconds. My god, ouch! My fucking coochie! I'm wearing this bodysuit, and I go to the bathroom, and I pull it out of my cooch, and I'm like, oh my god, it's been hurting me so bad. Okay. I think we're good. I mean, like, how can I effectively upgrade my stuff? Like, I'm just not understanding the UI and like the battle combat system. Like, I know I'm doing the combat right for the most part, like the dodging and the whatever, but like, I don't know like how to get better gear and stuff, if that makes sense. Like, we have this, but it won't let me use it to my effectiveness, apparently. Is it because my class? I guess it's because my class. Well, let me rest. Oh, there's another entryway. Yeah, I know this is a boss fight. Yes. What the fuck?
Mighty dragon, thou'rt a true born heir.
So loud.
Lend me thy strength, O kindred.
I'm so sorry. Not
Deliver
very well
me
audio mixed.
unto greater heights. Well.
Oh, we have matching gold chains.
A lowly tarnished,
What in the fuck?
playing as a lord. I command thee, kneel!
I don't get on my
am
knees
the lord
for
of
free.
all that is golden.
Whatever you want. I'm not gonna entertain you. Hi, sir. Well. Oh. Oh. Good soundtrack. Is that just like a dead dragon? Just... What is it called when you like... Oh, a taxidermy dragon. Is that like what that is right there? I have God mode on! What do you mean I died? This is silly. What do you mean I died? Well. Now you're just doing too much. What? What the fuck? Why'd you do that? Girl, is that necessary? Are you done moaning? Like, do you need to record something for your website?
Lend me thy strength.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Here he goes. Now, why did you do that?
Oh, fathers, one and all! Bear witness!
Did he just cut the dragon's head off and put it on his arm? Hi, Alexis. Thank you so much for the raid. Miku clears this boss fight. Hiya! Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome in. Alexis, thank you so much. How was your stream? What did you do over there? Sorry, the volume mixing's not great, so it's probably a little loud on my end, but... Oh my god, look at our emotes together. They're so cute! Oh, I just clocked him. Oh, that was a lot of damage. Oh, what'd you do in Genshin? I felt that. I haven't done any, like, farming in so long. I need to start saving for Dia. Clock him. Gagged. This is Miku's boss theme.
I am the Lord of all that is golden, and one day we'll return together to our home, bathed in rays of gold.
Of course, enjoy your lurk. Thank you for the raid again. Well, we did it! It was boss time, but now it's not. Well, giggles. Oh my god, well, first try I cleared him. Speedrun master myself. Esports?
What a pathetic excuse for a lord you were. Craven to the bone. Pushing me about like that. And after all that grafting, where did that get you?
Is that him in the...
Down on me, would ya? Oh. Hello there.
And I'm stomping on Godrick.
This weasel was... Godrick was always looking down on me. He got what he bloody deserved thanks to you.
You're welcome.
Tell you though, what goes around comes around. He had an ugly heart, an uglier countenance, and met the ugliest of ends, eh?
And you're pretty ugly too, buddy. Not the tee-hee. He went tee-hee. Where's her nose? What are you talking about? I got a nose job. Can you please be nice? Why would you not be nice? You just hate women. Wow, fucked up. So what now? Like, actually, what now? Was this his throne? Oh, I sit on it? There's a new queen in town. Welcome to the queendom. We need that as a sound command too. Welcome to the queendom. Now, witness the crown. And we also need, she looks good to me. Just making all of the women's theme songs sound commands. I mean, why not? Hello, it's my brand. Red, can you tell me if I'm missing something? Like, if I, like, am I supposed to do something here? Did I have to get something up at Godrick's thing? Like, I don't want to miss anything. You're the Elden Ring master. Excuse me. I had literally, there was so much milk in this coffee, my throat is like all... So I get nothing from killing the demigod? Wow. Wait, isn't a demigod a half god? So where are the actual gods? So he's technically a mini boss too? What does it mean? What does it mean? Hello. I got his rune. I got his iPhone. I got his number. Oh, this is pretty. I'm glad this game's running okay on stream. Remember last time we tried streaming this with my old PC? It did not work out. I'd say it's working out. Upgrade. So, where to now?
Good morning, Krusty Krab.
Literally scared me, Maddie. Is that big castle in the middle of the lake? What lake? Right in front of us? Oh wait, this map's huge. Wait, hold on. Everything the light touches is Miku's kingdom. Exactly. I'm glad we're on the same page. I pretty much... Your character is entering the world after its 5th apocalypse of war. So all of the gods are either dead or really weak. Oh. Miku isn't weak. Miku is thriving. Miku is God. She is queen. Queenly serving upon this. Thank you for the insight though, Kimmy. I just did not know what's going on. Maddie, it's Miku! Hatsune Miku! Not Ashniko! We're playing as Miku! Get it right! Can we go to Chuck E. Cheese? Yes. Do you guys remember when I almost owned an arcade? That was quite a time in my life. Why does McDonald's not have a 0 delivery fee, but everything else does? Riddle me that. I just don't want to make food. That sounds atrocious. But I should, because I want to spend money on the Steam sale, so let me put my phone down. No McDonald's. I want to spend money on the Steam sale. Okay. So, like, what is the, like... So... Oh, is this the... I want to get this. This is how we get the map. So, like, if I fall... Like, am I gonna die? Who dares me to jump? I wish I could get, like, a custom anime. Oh! Got you guys. I wouldn't jump off. It is fall damage. The scream? That was a bizarre scream. Good to know that while playing in God mode, you still can't jump off a cliff. That's interesting. What is that music for? Okay. I'm just trying to get to the next location. Like, how do we successfully get down without, like, dying? I honestly don't think there's a way from where we're at. I did. Oh my god, that was scary. Shut up. Hello, house music. 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 House music, hi. Oh, I just didn't follow the path. I'm stupid. Just gotta sing that Lord song. Something, something for the path. Something, something open the path. Hi, everyone. Why are you guys not friendly to me? Like, what did I do? Like, literally, what did I do? Just walking into the barracks. Hey, gentlemen. Okay, very unnecessary. Bye. So why is this forest covered in fog? Anybody want to answer me that? This makes me a little nervous. Hi. That's not true, Maddie. Why would you spread rumors? Why would you do that? Rumor has it. I do that little like weird chicken dance Jinx does during the lip sync. Forgot that was a lip sync song for literally every moment of my life until just now. Why are you trying to sneak up on me? Why did that one just like drop from the sky like it no clipped in? How do you spell pussy? How do you actually spell pussy? I like these crystals. You can't break it. Oh, we got the map. Yay! What? The map is even larger? I thought it was just like this. It was just the bottom half. What? Girl, I gasped. Because sometimes people at work say pussy, but I can't type pussy. Pustulant? Oh, I'm feeling very pustulant right now. Who up touching they pustulant? Sorry. So, where to now? After we killed Godrick, what do we do now? Weren't we supposed to do something with what's her name with Godrick? Like, I really am something. I am missing something. House music, please. Stop this madness. Why are we chiming the chime song bells? What the? Stop playing your bells. These are the Christmas carolers. Stop it. No Christmas carols. I love when I hit that move. Who's that guy over there? I know he wants to fight. Fight me. Fight me. What? What's up? Oh, he's coughing. Oh, he's smoking. So true, Obama's burner. Exactly. Is that the real Obama? Hi. Okay. Please stop Christmas caroling. Playing your sleigh bells. Is anybody wearing their jingle jammies? Oh, these guys just keep coming. I'm out. Please stop. I can't do this. Please make it stop. Please. When am I gonna upgrade my gear? Because this is ridiculous. Lacroix ruins. How beautiful. What is that? Oh, it's another one of those screamy girls. Oh, she's dead. Oh, she spit on us. Come here. Clocked. Oh my god, their faces are scary. Look at them. They look like alternates. Is this game supposed to scare you? Travel to another location. Why would I do that? Because these guys won't fuck off? Probably. I mean, I guess I will. Like, what do we have to lose? I walk in. Oh. Okay. Literally have no idea where I am, but okay. Hi. I was thinking about big dicks. So I decided to play Elden Ring. Truer words have never been spoken. The way I just clocked this poor old man. What's this thing? We have to fight that? That thing fights you? What the fuck? Who's driving the car? Oh, there's actually someone driving it. I was just kidding. Okay, well, you're killing your friends. I'm just... Fucking dumbass. Oh. Do you like how I painted my skin pink today? I painted pink just for you, House Music. All right, too far. We need to get a key. We need to find a key. We need to find a key. Can you romance in this game? I want to make love with someone. Like Skyrim. Skyrim's gay. Who's this guy? Hi. Are they friendly? Hi.
You. Please. I can read them.
Who's Baba Yaga?
Your fingers. Please, your fingers. Oh, bless you. Oh.
Girl's getting...
Michaela's favor can be yours.
She's getting off to the finkies.
Slaughter. 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 The all-hearing slaughtered. But alas, it was for naught. But all you need do is snatch it from the big pot. Pity the poor, poor fool. Your thing.
That's nice, ma'am. Thank you. Or whatever. Oh, so this teleported us closer to the temple? That's fun. So where do we get the key? I like that she's on a table. True. How do we even find this key? Like, where would I even start looking? I'm gonna go get... I'm gonna go get the map. Is this gonna kill me? I feel like this will kill me if I drop from this distance, which is stupid, but it will. Okay, I'm gonna get the map first. Excuse me, gentlemen. Hey, losers. Wrecked. Hey, flops. Perfect. Like here.
you're tarnished. Then, believe it or not, for a... Well, bless you're a true... My name is Topes. Presuming you're interested, I can only... Apology. I'm afraid... Oh, right. I can tell you what I know about this place. You've seen that structure to the north. That's the Academy of Rhea Lucaria. Only its doors have been closed for... After they declared they wouldn't interfere with the shattering, the Academy cast repelling seals on the east, as you might have guessed. The seal making entry to the Academy impossible without a Glintstone key. And so I'm stuck here. A fledgling sorcerer with little chance of acquiring a key. When they cast the seals, I'd... Why not without one, and you'll never reach the Erdtree? And if you find an X, once you've tied, would you consider... I know it, but still...
Why would I give it to you if I found it? The fuck? How do you get over there? That's insane. I want to get over there. That's the start of the game, but how do you like get? Okay. A what? A who? Right. Well, where's that dragon? Looks around. Where can I find her? I mean, probably somewhere near it, right? Oh, I want to go there. Excuse me, everyone. I'll just run around the lake until it spawns. Can you please? I will fight. I will fight. I will fight. The plant moving? I'm gonna ignore that. I'm gonna ignore. I'm gonna ignore. God damn it, I thought this was— what the fuck?! Is this it? Okay, these fucking plants are making me lag. Stop. Please stop. Hey, losers. Wait, they're actually cute. Wait, these guys are cute. They're so silly. Look at him. They're just little guys. I don't want to hurt you. Stop. You're my buddy. Alright, we gotta kill these things. Oh, wow. Yeah, we need to upgrade our stuff. What is that? There's multiple of them. We need a good weapon, because this is where it's getting bad for us. Hello? Can you please have class? How do you get new weapons? Not what I wanted. Can you please get off the thing? God damn it. I always think it's gonna be in one of these little huts. Is that it right there? What is that? Adventure time! Come on, grab your friends. Oh my god, please don't hurt my horse. That's so mean. Got him. Got a Glintstone. I don't know what that means. You think so? We're gonna find the key. We're gonna find the key. We're gonna find the key as we walk through the lake. We're gonna find the key. I'm gonna sing this and the dragon's gonna like take my head off. We're gonna find the key. We're gonna find the key. Why is it pea yellow out? Like, what is this piss yellow aura? Oh. Oh, that's not a dragon. Oh my god, it's Mr. Krabs! Mr. Ariana, what are you doing here? Purple, thank you so much for the follow. Ew, it just cummed it on me. What? Now, how does that make sense? You were disguised as a crab? You're silly, ma'am. Oh, clocked. Oh! Hi, Ivy. Thank you. I just beat you! Fuck off. There's 3 of them? 4? Now, hold on. Ariana, what are you doing here? Ow! Oh my god! All right, guys. I'm gone. Like I'm out. Like I'm out. Like you don't have to worry about me. Oh my god, there's more. I can't. What are we gonna do? What the hell are we gonna do now? Let's sneak around them. If I was a key, where would I be? Do you like my little rhyme I did? What was that? What is this? Another rock lobster, please. When will it stop? When will it stop? Penis, penis, penis. Where's Squidward? This looks like this is the area. Oh, this is looking mighty sussy to me. Check left side of the castle near the rock formation of the map. Oh. Oh. Okay. Wow. Oh, we've fully already been here. Okay, we're off again. On the road again. Does anyone want to sing a song while we're on the road? Like put on some tunes on the radio? I will admit, I'm very hungry. Can we stop for Burger King? On the way home. Are we there yet? Some Hungry Jacks. So, like, I really don't understand why you guys call it Hungry Jacks. Like, who is Jack and why is he hungry? And what does that have anything to do with Burger King? Like, what in relation to Burger King? Like, Macca's, yeah, but like, what do you mean? Oh, this is beautiful. Like, is the store still called Burger King? Or, like, when you go to a Burger King in Australia, the sign says Hungry Jacks? Or is that just, like, the slang for Burger King? Why? Why? That is too much. Then they're not the same thing, then. I feel like they're not the same thing. I feel like you're eating Hungry Jacks and you're just implying it's Burger King. No, I don't think that's correct. I think you are very incorrect. Hi, Dragon, wake up. Good morning. Well, this should be fun. Oh. You can't defeat Miku. I am a god. I am Miku. So how does that indicate the copyright if they're still called Whoppers? They don't want to copyright Whopper? Is that so? Hey, Dragon. Hey, buddy, old pal. Hey, Dragon. Buddy, pal. Buddy, pal. Buddy, pal. Friend. Can you stay on the ground? For me. Please stay on the ground if you want to fight. literally I'm playing with God mode on and it's still hard to fight, so I couldn't imagine doing this with no God mode. I would literally cry myself to sleep. Girl, that flame is taking chunks out of my fucking frame rate. It's pretty, but damn. I'm also playing with the default gear, so. Oh shit. I could literally fuck up Burger King right now. I could literally fuck it up so good. I would literally shove a Whopper in my mouth, one bite, I would eat it. It'd be gone. What are you doing? Oh, gagged. Oh. No. Oh my god, I couldn't get to the side of his face. You just... Sometimes I think you just say things. You can't just be like, yeah, I think someone bought me Burger King. Like, no, you know what you're eating. Stay down. We're almost done. What is his name? Glintstone Dragon Smarag. Oh, there we go. Not him clipping into the world. Well, that was rigged. All right, buddy. Stay on the ground. Me to a dragon. Stay on the ground. What? Are you serious? It just despawned and respawned. You can't be serious, dude. Yeah, that's what I thought. I was gonna say, if it doesn't have the same health, I swear to God. Well, I want it, so give me it, because I know it's Burger King. Give it to me. And I want a crown, too. We are so close. I can almost taste it. Kamehameha! I missed. Oh my god. Ah! Got you. Damn. I keep hitting the wrong button. Well, that was a cool fight. I enjoyed that. Great enemy demigods, and what was the one the other guy was called? Lots of things to fight in this, huh? Is there a waypoint over here? I don't know why would we ever need to come back here, but let me look around. Well, I only know 3 fights in this game. I don't know anything else. I know the one we're going to with that fierce girl with the water. I know Melania, Blade of Michaela. And then I know that cat boss thing, the mini boss thing. That was like a meme for everybody. And those are the only 3 fights I know. I didn't even know there were dragons in this game until now. I need to get some food in my system. Literally scared me so bad. Misty, thank you for the raid. Hi Mary, how you doing? What's going on, everybody? I'm Nemesis. My pronouns are she, her. Happy to have you here. What's going on? I'm just trying to find a waypoint, but it doesn't look like there's one. Thank you. This bodysuit has been sitting in my closet for years, so I was like, the one time I'm gonna wear it, it's gotta be Christmas time because it's red and green, so I'm surprised it still fits. Of course, no worries. Thank you for the raid. Is there seriously nowhere to rest? What? Hi to you too? Right. I was just harmlessly coming over here to adventure. And you show up. So this is your own fault if you die. Clock. Oh, those moves are so satisfying. Never played a Souls game before, but that feels good. Oh, guys. Whoa, let's calm down. Get my stamina back. That design is like nothing to me. That's such a weird design. Nothing revolutionary to me. That was kind of lackluster. Really weird. That like came out of nowhere. That was so bizarre. The hardest version of Asylum Demon? What does that mean? Hey, Everwinter. What the hell, dude? Here we go. Loving this fit, thank you. There's a memory stone in that building. I'll go back. Thank you though. I appreciate. I need to get better stuff. Pretty far behind.
Now, those eyes tell a story of a challenger who's felled her mark.
I've watched like a bunch of people play, so like I know what happens. I'm just wanting to enjoy the immersion of the world. Okay, strengthen, like Ashes of War. This is what I'm using now. What is this? Don't understand. Oh, we made it with like we made really oversized lips. You can add a special attack. Oh, that's interesting. Fuck. So there's no way to get better weapons, you have to find them in the wild?
Greetings. My name is Rod. Isn't this place the round table? I never knew the guy, although I'm still looking for my...
Two finger room. What?
Are you that new? You've done no. I interpret. Let them.
Great anchor until it was tragic across the far. But the great.
Oh, Grandma's talking way too much. You want me to touch the fingies? That's it?
Well, remember. Okay, is and I the finger.
Oh, that's interesting. You can choose them though? Is this the same for like all of the demigods? You can choose like one or the other weapon? So sorry. That's cool. I like that. I think I'm gonna do axe just because we've been playing with an axe this entire time.
Ah, the chill tainted and listen. The great harness in the demigod. Godrick the Grafted.
Love you, Queen, but I am not. That is a weird thing. The fingers. Why does it say that? Unable to use the item effectively with present attributes. What does that mean? I'm actually playing on PC. That's a nice axe. Oh. I broke the chair? Okay. I haven't seen this room before. Hi, safety.
Oh, your divinity, have mercy and grant me forgiveness. I didn't notice you there. Just lay out your arms.
Thank you. Oh my fucking god. That hurt. What do you mean? Oh, if I take off the shield?
Back already, no matter. Those were maybe my bread. Well, the girl, she's crest, but she has a gift. I saw another their eyes. That's even nothing special. I'm trapped. That's all the... No, I've no grudge in my being a pretty side, despite my deciding.
No, I don't think so.
A pleasure to see. Thank goodness. I'm still looking not easy by any. You're telling me? I don't believe you. If I do, I suppose I'll ask Master. Certainly he does. I know he's. I can tell. If I suppose I should. I'll ask Master.
I don't mean to break the chairs. You said R1 and Y.
Back already, no matter. The girl. Are you out? Who'd stay with absurd? I refuse. I don't doubt.
I just wanted to say hi. I gotta go to sleep because I have a doctor's appointment. I'm probably gonna end relatively soon just because like I need to eat food, but thank you for stopping in.
I suppose I should. I'll ask Matt.
Yeah, I'm playing with God mode because it just makes it so I can actually enjoy the game. So otherwise I'm not able to do anything. I just like can't play the game without it. Alright guys, how do you save the game? Does it just auto save? I don't know how I did it, but I did it. Yeah, how do I do that? Okay. Oh yes. We are doing the thing on Elden Ring, I guess. Very slay. Thank you all for being here. I'm gonna de-drag. I'm gonna enjoy my day off tomorrow, get some work done, and I'll be back for the weekend. I believe that'll be the weekend. Yep, tomorrow's SmackDown, WWE. Oh, it's the pre-taped SmackDown where Raquel wins. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm gonna be up. So yeah, that's tomorrow, and then I'll be live on Saturday. And thank you all for being here. The VOD will be posted on YouTube. I have to upload the some other VODs, so this one might take a little bit. But yeah, I have some TikTok content scheduled. I have YouTube content scheduled. And I'm gonna do some things in our Discord. If you want to join our Discord, just make it, I'm gonna like clean it up a little bit and add some things. But I'm gonna shut it down right now. I am so fucking tired. I will see you on the next stream. See you on, I guess I'll see you on Twitter. I fucking hate Twitter now because of the update, but it's fine. I'm on all social media under NemesisLacroix. The only place I'm Nemesis Network is here on Twitch. So thank you all for being here again. I appreciate it. I'll see you later.